Right, going live for a little bit as I sit here organizing my trench terrain. I am using this kind of soft, squishy foam for the first time, but I feel like since I'm covering it with like latex and sand and stuff, it should be fine. Otherwise, I'm going to be completely hosed. But that is the thing when you take risks and you experiment. You have to be ready to be wrong, and then basically eat the consequences of it. So this is just about the perfect. By the time I add, everything to it, yeah, this is just about perfect. So really, the thing is cutting it into shape because there's a lot of curves in this trench, and it's only going to get bigger. There's more pieces coming. And I have to say, I doubt the guy who makes these watches any of my videos. But man, what a pleasure it is dealing with his shop. He just he's just a real one. You know what I mean? Like, I put in an order and it was a big order, so you would have thought people would have been like, "Oh shit," Um, oh yeah, I forgot something. Sorry, every time I touch my table, it shakes because I work on one of those cheap plastic fold out, 5 foot by whatever tables. And hey, the king of the retrobades, how are you doing, my friend? There's throwing a link in just in case. Afternoon, Daniel Berry. No three-peat for me, but hey, whatever. Such is life, right? Such is life. Um, they're still my team. That's one thing. That's why when I had the camera the other way, it was so people could see my actual 1989 or 90 Christian Okoye game jersey, because it's like, okay, I like the fact that new young people have decided, hey, we like the Chiefs. I like that. That's fine. But, you know, you got these Johnny come latelys too. And I don't know. Part of me is like cool with it because I'm like, hey, you're coming around. You're liking the Chiefs. But then again, we all know those people that whoever wins the Super Bowl, they're wearing their hat. Oh, somebody's up there. Let's see. It is my homie from the frozen north. What's up, homie?
What's up?
How
Well,
you
I didn't
doing?
watch the game, so you can't say anything to me. I'm not going to wear either of their wear. So
I didn't watch the game either. Actually, I was playing role playing games.
well, I don't blame you.
Hey,
There's Leth, the
There's
man
Leth.
with no life. Man, he's on here all the time.
I'm
He's
not
my
here
homie.
all
If
the
Leth
time.
has no life, I have no life.
Oh well.
I don't think I was on here the last time you streamed.
I don't think you were, which is probably good. I mean, I've been on a little bit of tear making fun of Europeans lately. Which
That's okay. They need
You know,
it.
James, you say it's not a hate crime if you love doing it, but that's not true. It's just a crime of passion, then.
my brother came up with that or stole it from somewhere or whatever the actual story is. And he told me that. He's like, it's not a hate crime if you love doing it. And I just thought that was the funniest shit I'd ever heard. Because it's so ridiculous, you know what I mean? It's just so out there. And like unbelievable that it makes it, the ridiculousness of it is what makes it so funny,
I
because
like
it's just
this.
like,
If there's something so funny, it's the person who made a song out of the comments of Snow White's trailer.
Oh, I saw that. Oh my God, yes. But not just that. He's made songs, or she. There's two. They
Yeah.
have made songs out of the comments of multiple things on YouTube.
Yes.
Like, and like my wife showed it to me, and I'm just sitting here being like, this is maybe the greatest thing ever. And the comments are not good. It's not like, hey, we all love Snow White. It's like, go Apple, go. I've never rooted for the witch before. You know, I'm like,
Nobody ever rooted for a poison apple before this movie.
yeah, this movie made me root for a poison apple. I thought Snow White was supposed to be better looking than the evil queen. Which I've said that unironically, so seeing that other people get it too.
I was just wondering why Lord Farquaad was playing Snow White.
Yeah, that was a good one. Why is Lord Farquaad playing Snow White? Yeah, like, but I have said this before they said it in the song, so I'm taking credit. I've said it even on live streams. Snow White's supposed to be prettier than the evil queen, right?
Yeah.
But there's that Ziegler woman is nowhere near as hot as Gal Gadot or whatever her name is. It's not even close. You know what I mean?
Disney used to start acting careers, not end them.
Yeah. I was watching this one guy. He's got a channel where he uses AI to like make actors, I guess, look like actual actors from things. And it was basically Qui-Gon Jinn, Anakin, and Obi-Wan sitting around watching the Clone Wars and commenting on it. Yeah. And Anakin was the best because like his response to everything was like to attack it. And Obi-Wan's like, that's all you ever do. And Anakin's all grinning. He's like, it works though, don't it? You know,
It works
like,
though.
Yeah, it works. And then they started making fun of him for killing younglings and shit. And he's just like, hey, you know. But
So what's new on the front, James, besides movies and stuff?
oh, I mean, well, Storyteller decided that he's going to pick up the vampire game every other week, which is pretty good. And then I am going to be expected to, which I look forward to it, so don't take it the wrong way, run Talislanta every other week.
That's cool.
Which is we got a pretty interesting group of characters, all of them from the Nine Kingdoms. And oh, there's Jose. One of them has a very small airship, basically a skiff. So it's going to be more of the Let's style high fantasy type game. But that's Talislanta. I mean, in Talislanta, 90% of the classes pretty much, well, you can't call them classes. 9% of the careers or archetypes have some form of magic.
Oh.
And like a +1 weapon is not uncommon. Like if you go to the Emerald City of Cimmeria, you can buy +1 weapons like on the streets. But that's because Cimmeria is a magocracy where 90% of the population are mages. And one of the first powers a mage gets in Talislanta is enchantment. So literally a mage can just open up a shop on some side street somewhere and be like, spend all of his time making +1 swords if that's what he wants to do. I mean, anything more than +1 gets rare because it's so much harder to make. But +1 swords don't really the materials required are not that out there. But like a +5 sword, yeah, that's like an epic sword, and requires like the blood of demons, and someone probably died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
I had my game on Saturday. One of my players, who was a complete fucking idiot, decided to pick up all the cursed weapons he could pick up for cheap. And so he picked them up, and he wanted to know what happened to him. So I've turned now a halfling from a male halfling to a human female that cross dresses.
Well, I mean, at least he's not a halfling.
Yeah, well, he's now a human female that cross dresses and has some other problems going on.
Because I
Every
pretty much
7
rather be
days-
anything than a halfling.
Every 7 days, he's got to randomly roll a dice to see what attacks him out of midair. Something's going to attack him.
Sounds to me like he is not having the time of his life.
Sounds
Well,
to me that he's going to be the main character of Birdemic soon.
Well, he decided he wanted to try all this stuff, so not one to shirk on responsibilities. And I pulled out my deck of many curses and slapped him with it, and he's like, okay. And I said, pick 5 out. You picked out 5 cursed weapons, so here you go.
Yeah.
Let's just say, Vic, is there a way to move cursed items without getting cursed yourself?
Of course there is.
Okay, good.
How about you just wear a simple pair of gloves?
Fair.
Wrap it up in some kind of cloth material. Don't
Right.
touch it.
Yeah.
Right. But he said, "Oh, I'm dumb enough. I probably picked them all up without my thing." I said, "Oh, I know you did." So, because this character's intelligence is a 4,
One of the favorite characters in one of my old AD&D games, for me at least, he was a favorite, was a half elf acrobat. Because when he got to level 5 thief, he became an acrobat.
Yep, thief acrobat. Yep.
And his intelligence was like 7. So he was always doing dumbass shit.
I have a character that had a 7 intelligence. I called him. He was a dwarf fighter. His name was Rockhead, but he had an 18 something or other strength, natural, and I mean, literally, he was the fire plug. We dressed him in plate mail armor. We put him right in front and said, "Kill." That's all he did. Swung his battle axe.
In my new game, one of the players, or the other player in this game, because we only have 2 players now, he's going to be basically a Beastmaster hunter. He wants to have like a falcon and a dog and use archery for most of his stuff.
Yeah. Well, we did have some dogs in ours, but nobody died in the game on Saturday. They really didn't have an opportunity to, though. Now they're going into the Sus Forest at the southern end of Selene, in between the Selene and the Pumjar, and yeah, shit is not going to go well.
Well, they'll be near the Wild Coast, and they'll be north of the Uliks, the 3 of them.
No, they're west, or they're east of the Uliks, and they are east of the Uliks. The Sus Forest
Is that
right
the Wild
there,
Coast or the
Pumjar,
Woolly
Wild
Coast?
Coast, and Selene. Selene's here, James. Selene would be here.
Right.
You can't see my hand. Then you got the Pumjar down over here, and Wild Coast up here. So it's right in that center crux right there that the Sus Forest is. And inside Greyhawk
How's
Road,
his
there's
back?
a lost city there. And my players don't remember that the there is a lost Cerulean city down there, and they also forgot about a vampire in an earlier campaign that they left sitting there, and so they're going to run into the vampire in the city looking for a lost library.
We ran into some vampires last night.
I can't wait to see how our group's going to work. My character's basically the front line.
But they were all us. We were the vampires. We ran into.
Yeah, Vic, my gnome inventor is going to be the front line of the group.
Yeah, I think your group's not going to last very long.
A group of 2.
Army of 2.
And on the DaveCon front, somebody today dropped a whole bunch of Traveler games they're going to run at DaveCon. So if you're into Traveler,
Is it going to be Mark Miller
no, it is
or one of the other luminaries?
no, it's going to be. Let me see here. Oops, I can't. I got to find the information now. Which guy is it doing it? And the scheduling.
Ah,
Oh, come on, computer. It's not playing nice with me right now. Original Carl, whoever that is.
nice.
So he is going to run, I see in here, at least 5 Traveler games. So
Nice.
that's going to be nice.
Looks like my camera refuses to work.
We can see you. You're still breaking everybody else's screen, so that's okay.
Yeah, you're still there.
Well, not anymore. It's
Do you
now
see
he's
me?
just got the. Oh, no.
I see Jose. I don't see Jose.
Jay,
So
I
can
can
hear him.
when he's talking.
Yeah, we can hear him, but yeah, his camera's gone now.
Well, these things happen.
Yep, well,
There he
there
is.
it is. It's
there's
cracking
there's
up, but
Jose's face.
it's now working at least.
Hello, Jose. How
But
are you?
no, I
Hello.
can't hear him. There it goes. There it goes.
Jose's got a hell of a collection going on up over his right shoulder there. Something.
Yeah, he's got all of his Valtech stuff on display.
The only
That'll-
collection I have is a game collection, video game collection.
Yeah. You say that, Leth, but I have a feeling there's some Funko Pops laying about your house somewhere.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I'm not a fan of those. I don't like them. They're ugly.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either, but
Those are BattleTech.
a lot of people make fun of them now, and
They should have been made fun of when they first came out. They're stupid.
Well, the only thing I've got over my shoulder is the let's see here.
Dragon.
No, I got the let's see here. I'm trying to do
Wow.
the background here. Turn it off for a second here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see a dragon.
Over my shoulder over here, the demon. The big ass demon.
Oh yeah,
Are
the
you,
demon.
are you talking about the Moloch statue? Yeah.
From the first edition.
Yep. I got that as a present, and
This one I made myself, James. This one's 3D printed.
oh, nice. No, I got the actual official one that lights up if it's got like a battery and
Oh, you mean sort of like this one? If I put the battery to it, I've got
it's like that, but it's like this tall.
yeah. This one I got it. I don't even know if I got.
I guess I was told that they bought it for me at a GameStop,
Yeah, I believe it. I'm just trying to find.
and I was like, huh. Seems like a weird thing to sell at GameStop, but okay.
Well, GameStop used to bought out ThinkGeek.com. Remember that? So
Hey Jeff, how you doing, homie?
let me see here if I can maneuver this. If I can get it to light up and hold it at the same time, I don't think I can.
I do feel sad that my sister did lose my a copy of Zelda.
Oh, the original gold one?
No, this was the GameCube Collector's Edition that came with it came with like the 4 Zelda games. Like it was like the original, the second one, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, I think.
Yeah. I have the first two Zeldas because my wife bought me one of those little NESs that are like that big, and it's got like
Oh yeah,
70 games on it, and one
Hey,
of them
NES
is
Mini.
Zelda, and that's
James,
the one that I play.
James, this is from the Kickstarter. Look at the size of that
Oh yeah,
toy.
that's the museum size.
This is big, huh? This is a cup.
Yeah, game store in my area, the one I used to go to, they had a Mad Cat there for sale for the longest time. I think someone bought it, but this thing was like 2 feet tall.
Wow.
I think it was made by the same people, Forge World or whatever. I think it was made by the same people who made 40K stuff back in the day. You know, they used to make the Titans and stuff. I mean, it looked really cool, but you already know why I didn't buy it. Because I don't buy planned bullshit. If it'd been an actual Marauder, I don't know. I might have begged the wife into let me spend that kind of money. She probably would have said no, but I would have kept trying. But no, that kind of money for some silly ass clan mech, that's. But back to reality though, that's really cool though. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. I've seen where people are taking Mech STLs and upsizing them from like 6mm to like 15 mil. I saw one guy did a what was it? I think it was a Marauder, and he scaled it up to 28 mil. So I mean, the thing was like this tall.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It was pretty big. At 15 mil, they're like yay big. I mean, they're big. You know, which you could play Battletech at 15 mil really easy, honestly.
Yeah.
You just have to double all the ranges,
And you,
and that would be that.
yeah, and you need a big table too.
You'd need a bigger table for sure, but I mean, if you're playing lance on lance, your typical say 4 foot by 4 foot would be enough. You know,
Yeah.
it just means you'd be starting much closer. Yep, Bragg is back. I know. The guy in charge of the military is renaming all the old bases
Hexteth.
to their original name. Stuart
Hexteth.
It's like, because renaming these bases that are literally 100 years old to appease 6% of the population is stupid. It's dumb. If they don't like it, they can get over it. Just like everybody's bitching because the president said that he will not give any foreign aid to South Africa. But Marco Rubio's like, why would we give foreign aid to South Africa? They're literally talking about wiping out all the Boers. So no, we will not be financing genocides in other countries. That's just not something the U.S. is going to do anymore, at least. You know?
I just wonder who paid to call toxic the Star Wars fans.
Toxic Star Wars fans.
Yeah, there was a time when they were all over the place saying things, and it was like I don't know, like all the media.
Oh,
It
that was
sounded-
because of
Yeah.
everybody getting on Kathleen Kennedy for being so terrible.
Yeah, but they started to call Star Wars fans as toxic, and I said,
Yeah.
"What?"
Yeah.
And I said, "What?" It sounds like somebody paid them to say that in the media.
Well, I mean, Disney.
Did they?
You have to remember, Disney owns ABC. They own a lot of media companies, right? So if you start posting on some media that, you know, the acolytes sucked, and that other one with the power of one, the power of two, the power of many bullshit. If you start saying, yeah, that sucks, and it completely destroys the canon of Star Wars, then Disney, because they own media companies, can immediately leap into
To some message.
yeah, they can immediately go to all of their subsidiaries to push the message, you know, that Star Wars actually is awesome. The problem is toxic fans that hate women. And it's like, no, that's not the problem. The problem is the new Star Wars sucks. And yet you keep making them.
The problem is just like Lorraine Williams in Dungeons and Dragons 2, they put Kathleen Kennedy in front of it, and she's not a Star Wars fan. She doesn't know the lore. She hasn't read all the books. They should have put somebody who actually knows the lore, knows the books, and didn't cancel out all them, I mean, you know what I mean? And
well, the first thing
didn't make anything canon.
The first thing they did is cancel the original trilogy.
Right.
They made all the heroes from the original trilogy into scumbags.
Mm-hmm.
Like Han Solo was a shitty dad that abandoned his kids, and Luke Skywalker was hiding on an island drinking alien milk, and, you know, being a crotchety bastard. I mean, none of that has anything to do with
with the original trilogy
or the characters as they were originally written. I mean, yeah, Han Solo was a roguish type, but would he abandon his family? No. And Luke Skywalker, according to the extra, you know, the lore or not lore, depending, he went on to start a Jedi school.
Yeah, on Yavin.
And, you know, was training. And I think Princess Leia, it turned out, was force sensitive. And then he married that redheaded assassin type chick.
Mara Jade.
And they had like 3 kids, and one of the kids
No.
I'm pretty sure in the original trilogy they kind of hinted at Leia being force sensitive, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you all the lore. You can name the character. I can tell you the lore because, goddamn it, I've read all those damn books.
Well, didn't Mara Jade marry Luke Skywalker?
Yes, and they had a child named Ben Skywalker.
So who had the twins, and one of them went bad?
Leia and Han had Jaina, Jason, and Anakin.
Yeah, one of them found like a Sith holocube or something. And,
yes, that was Jason.
And then in the end, his sister had to hunt him down, and they had
she was called the Sword of the Jedi.
Yeah, they had this big fight, and she ended up having to put him down because...
And Anakin died on the world of... what was the name of that? He died from the Vong. Remember the Vong? The race from Out and Beyond.
Yeah, they come from who knows where, and they were immune.
They came from their extrasolar creatures. They were the Vong. They came and he died.
The Yuuzhan Vong. They had the snake staffs and all that.
Yep.
Majority of the people complaining will never set foot on the damn place. I don't even know what place you're talking about, Jeff. Anywho, my lack of knowledge of whatever Jeff's talking about, notwithstanding, they had so much good lore ready for them to just make movies out of.
Yeah.
But they decided, instead of doing that, to kill the original trilogy so that they could introduce all these new characters that unfortunately for them, it turned out no one actually wanted.
Well,
Yeah, that's just-
here's the problem. And it was also J.J. Abrams who was mixed up in that stuff. And then they messed up the whole thing where they're like, oh, well, we'll just, now we're going to have Ben Skywalker is actually Leia's child. It's like, he didn't even read it either. And that's what pissed off a lot of people, including myself. I'm like, where the hell are they getting all this nonsense from? And then I found out that they decided all those books are no longer canon, while George Lucas made them canon. That was all because
There
George
is-
read everything.
there is a way to write stories like J.J. Abrams. For example, Star Trek, there is a evil guy who has a big ship who wants to destroy everything. There is a Star Trek Into Darkness. There is an evil guy who has a big ship who wants to destroy everything.
Yeah.
There is a Star Trek Beyond. There is a big evil guy, an evil guy with a big ship who wants to destroy everything. And the same for The Force Awakens.
That's exactly right. It's
So
always it's the same thing over and
The
over
same.
and over and over again.
Well, if it's J.J. Abrams, you can guarantee it's going to be the same shit over and over.
Yeah, so it is the same
Because
story.
J.J. Abrams, I don't think, has ever had an independent, new, unique basis with it. Yeah, the people complaining about the bases with the supposedly offensive names, these are the people that are never going to join.
Yeah.
Because, I hate to say it, but there are people out there, and you might even know some of them, who literally think that only losers join the army. Because if you are a loser, then, obviously you'd get a job making six figures and be rich. But since you joined the military, you're a loser because you had to do that. They keep trying to hang that albatross around Trump's neck, but there's no evidence that he actually said anything of the sort. But
Indeed, I consider the army to be like a good ladder for a social ladder for people who has a disadvantage to bring themselves into a decent position. For example, there is a Brazilian astronaut who entered the military and became astronaut. You will not find any information about his childhood because he had to sell stuff in the street in order to survive. Imagine that. So he was poor, very, very poor, and he could overcome the poverty because he joined the army and became an astronaut.
Well,
So
you know
this
what?
is
I
a
commend
very
it. I commend
it's-
He's going to be after 18 years of age, and he when he became an adult and he decided not to pursue a life of crime. You know what? I
Yeah.
commend it. You know,
yeah. His name is Marcos Pontes.
Well, like I said, I commend anybody that drags themselves out of
Mhm,
a crappy situation
mhm.
and makes a life for themselves.
Yeah,
That is commendable. I mean, there's been
Commendable.
people throughout history that have done that kind of thing, that they've been, they were considered complete dirt bags, and then they turn around and they're,
and the guy is very humble. I once had a chance to talk to him, so it was very, very inspiring.
well, like I said,
Well, guys, that is basically my story, except I didn't get to be an astronaut or anything.
Yeah, well,
But I grew up in a very poor place that had very limited opportunities. So I joined the army, and then thanks to just being able to grow up in the army, with discipline and whatever, it allowed me when I got out to actually offer something to society instead of, sitting up on a hill somewhere, not doing anything.
and it is a privilege. It's a
And
privilege to
everything
talk
else
to you.
in my life that has been good
Mhm.
is a direct reflection of the fact that I joined the army. I never would have had the opportunity to be a fireman if I had not first chosen to join the army.
And
Which I mentioned that a lot, and I apologize. I'm not trying to be like away, but I'm
Mhm.
super proud of it.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
worked my ass off to do it, and against all odds, in a career where maybe 1 out of 100 people actually get hired, I did, because I worked my ass off. That's
All right,
Yeah.
James.
And-
let me show you. This is
and
one
it's
of
an-
my.
It's an honor
One of my
to
designs,
meet you,
James.
James.
You see that? You see it's lit up. I don't know if you can.
Oh, I see that.
Mhm.
See,
Well, I
the
might-
one that was given to me as a gift was already painted orange, and it's got the gemstone lights and everything like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think they got it at a GameStop because GameStop was selling them.
James,
But it kind of freaked me out, so I left it in a box and put it out in the garage. Tried to give it back, but they said that they would be
James,
offended.
it's a privilege to call you a friend.
Well, I mean,
For me at
Thank-
least.
thank
Okay,
you.
because being an astronaut is a job, being a firefighter is a job, and you were saving many lives. So,
well,
so
most of
that's
that is just
commendable.
waking diabetic people up. But
Yeah.
I thank you.
Yeah.
Now, being an astronaut, that's badass because there's maybe a couple hundred of those guys on the whole planet.
That's called taking cojones. To put your butt on in the top of a rocket and to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, to ride literally on top of a missile
Yeah.
into an environment where you should not be there
Yeah.
because you are not going to survive there if anything goes bad. You're just
That is serious cojones as far as I'm concerned.
that's balls. Yeah, yeah. I love our astronauts. Those guys are and gals. They are a special group of people. Like me. Okay, will I go into a house that's on fire to look to save a human being or a dog? Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Would I ever want to be on a submarine? No effing way. Not
Take
even.
a special mentality.
Not even. Because, okay, maybe I F up, maybe I die, maybe something collapses on me. Okay, fine. But a submarine is terrifying to me.
No
Just
kidding.
the idea of being in that metal can. If anything goes wrong, I mean, I get my nephew, who is an officer on the submarine, he pointed out to me if something goes that wrong, he won't know because the implosion will kill them so quick that it'll be like you'll be doing whatever you're doing 1 minute and then boom, you're done. So.
I think it's actually scarier if you're like stuck underwater and, with no way out.
Well, yeah, like what happened to those poor Russian soldiers
Well,
when the Kursk went down.
Hey, I have a definite fear of anything like that, and tight spaces. I've heard talk of how tight those spaces are in a Navy submarine. No, thank you. It's fine. And I am not one to go up on top of a mountain unless there is a mountain underneath me. If somebody gets me up in one of those Ferris wheels or something, no, screw you. I'm 6'6". I have enough height. I can see everything I want. And unless my feet are sitting on the ground, screw it. I mean, even going up on a roof sometimes, I look at the roof and I'm just like, yeah. I don't know if it's vertigo or what, but I've got sensitive eardrums that I could sit there and feel. When I was up in the Chicago Tower when I was a youth, I could feel it moving in the wind. And I kept looking at my dad saying, no, fuck no, I'm out of here. I can't. My dad's like, is it that bad? And I said, I can tell this building is moving side to side, Dad, right now.
Which is, you don't want that.
No, I get that vertigo, and I'm just like, nope. I mean, I get on an airplane, and it's for the first 5 minutes. That's like, okay, the last 5 minutes, okay, I'm clenching up as tight as I can, and I'm just like, and I try to make jokes as much as I can. Let's see if this is an Air Force pilot or a Navy pilot, honey.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Well, Navy pilots got to be pretty good because they're landing those planes on a rocky freaking
know it.
aircraft carrier in the middle of the Pacific somewhere.
It is like landing on a napkin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
landing on a postage stamp. But
Yeah.
These guys that come into like Orlando, and it's like, oh, we know Orlando's got a 6,000 plus foot runway, but no, they got to hit the reverse thrusters before they even put the wheels on the ground. It's like, great, last 2 feet, the air, planes in the air, just boom.
It's just a habit,
I know, force a habit. They've learned it for so long, and it's just. And every time I walk by those guys at the pilot, they're sitting up there, and I go, Navy, Air Force, and 95% of the time I get it right.
Yeah. Those guys are amazing too. The ones that are willing to bring a $50 million plane that's 50 feet long and weighs however many tons, and drop it on an aircraft carrier that's moving on the ocean and rocking with the wave. Like, that is insane. That
Calling the ball, it's called.
Or landing a helicopter. Or landing a helicopter in one of those destroyers
those little ones. Yeah, they got that little helicopter pad up on the platform.
Yeah, and in stormy waters.
Launching off of a helicopter pad. Oh, the Coast Guard ones those pilots are amazing. Those guys are absolutely crazy. They're landing on those little Coast Guard cutters doing this number, and they're trying to save somebody off of the, in the, Alaska, Bering Sea, and the boat's half tipped, and they're trying to get down there. It's like, no, you guys are psycho.
One of the first things I learned when I got on shift, we had to call in air evac, because like if we drive a patient from where I am to like ORMC South up in Orlando, that's like a 35-minute drive. By helicopter, it's like 2 minutes, right? And my lieutenant, right? Okay, you're trained in academy that when you call in a helicopter, you're supposed to guide them in and do all this shit, right? And my lieutenant's like, nope. And I'm like, no. And he's like, no. And I was like, why? And he's like, the guys coming in, these guys flew helicopters in Vietnam. Believe me, they don't need your help. Just whatever. And this dude come in one of those big red, air evac helicopters, and he did the circle, and then he dropped that bitch right in the middle of the road, just boom. And he was like 3 feet on either side from like trees and hedges. And sure enough, he's sitting in there with his little helmet on, a big full beard, old guy. And then the paramedics jump out of the back and they take the patient from us. And then he's just like, wow, gone. And yeah, my lieutenant said, don't tell them how to do their job. They get uppity about it. You know what I mean? Those guys,
sort of like a truck driver,
air evac Marines.
Yeah,
out of Da Nang under fire. You don't need to tell them what they're doing.
Ask Hungar this one. It's like a truck driver being told how to back up a truck. When you've got the experience, and you see some young guy rock out there and go, "Oh, you're doing it wrong." You just look at him going, "Go away."
Well, it depends though. If they're swift, then you gotta listen.
Oh yeah, right. No. Swing wide. It's a effing trailer.
Yeah, that's one thing. I don't know where Hunger is, but the whole time he drove trucks, he was just constantly talking shit about Swift. And because of that, it started making me pay attention to things. And I started noticing that, like, when you're driving down the interstate, if you see a tractor trailer, like in an accident or something, 90% of the time it's Swift.
Or Western Express, or one of these other ones, Western Express. Swift and Western Express. Now, Swift owns Night Transportation, and they own US Express too, don't you?
I don't know. No, all I know is what my brother told me.
Yeah, they own a They are the biggest company out there. They're bigger than Schneider and Hunt, and they own a lot of tractors.
Yeah, the only other trucking stuff I know is that my Serbian brother-in-law at the time, he used to drive up to Chicago to drive for a company that was owned by Russians.
Mm-hmm.
And my priest at my church, Father Nectarius, he also, during the week, because Orthodox priests don't get paid to be Orthodox priests, drives up to Chicago and spends the whole week driving for a Russian trucking company. Because apparently there are a shit ton of Russian trucking companies in Chicago.
Yeah, Super Ego is another bad one out of Chicago to stay away from. I've got a list of them that I know that I'm never going to drive for.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is, but that's what all of my Serb / Russian / whatever relatives or friends or acquaintances that drive trucks, they all go to Chicago to drive truck for the Russians.
So Jose, you're in Brazil?
No, I am in Costa Rica. But,
you're in Costa Rica. Okay.
But he came here, and basically, it is a long story because I have always been a fan of aerospace stuff, and there was an event, and basically I attended, and there I knew the guy. He was very humble. It is like talking to James. So it's very interesting because basically you realize it is a different job, but also, well, I consider that being a firefighter like James is also badass. So because it's risky, it is So basically, those two jobs, astronaut and firefighter, are very risky. So basically, I compare both.
I'm not running into a burning building unless I have to.
I'm going to tell you one thing though. If you're in a bar trying to pick chicks up and you're a firefighter and the other guy is an astronaut, he's getting all the chicks. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he's not there and you're the firefighter, you're going to get the chicks because chicks love firefighters, right? Not that I would know since I was married, but I've seen it, right? But nothing beats astronaut or fighter pilot. Like if you roll in and some chick's like, what do you do for a living? And you're like, I'm a fighter pilot. You know, I pilot F-15s or whatever. I mean, forget about it. You know, I'm an astronaut. I've actually been in space for 248 days. You know, it's like, you can't compete with that. No one competes with that. It's like, whatever. You know, like those guys up on the space station that's been up there for like a third of a year or something. How do you compete with that? You just don't. I mean, because that's just like the most masculine, manly, even though women do it, it's like the most heroic, badass thing.
We play Battletech. We play Battletech.
Battletech.
That should bring the chicks.
You would be surprised of all the war games out there. I've seen more women playing Battletech than any other war game.
Yeah, that's it. That's correct. So you get all the chicks.
Well,
Battletech.
The problem with Battletech, female Battletech players is they're not impressed that I used to be a firefighter.
No.
They don't care. They're there to rock out with their Vindicators or whatever.
Yeah. So
I mean, they're on a mission. So yeah, it's like you see these people and they're like, we need to get more women into 40K, and it's like, I played 40K since like 97. I've seen one woman ever playing 40K at a tournament or at any place, anywhere in Orlando. And this is huge. We do tourneys down here, 60 plus people show up, right? But you show up to the Battletech stuff and there's always a couple chicks there, always. So I don't know if it's like the lore or these girls just really like the rule set, or, you know, maybe they just want to crush some dude's face with a mech. whatever their motivation is, yeah, you see more women play about that.
Interesting. Yeah, my wife used to play, well, Destiny because it had a story. So yeah, this is the game that she liked to play because of that.
Yeah, you did your review. It was good.
Yeah. Oh, you watched the review.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was good. I liked it. Destiny is a role playing game. So if you have a lady in your life that's into role playing games, I mean,
Mm,
it's a no brainer. You know,
yeah.
it's like, and since you don't actually, I mean, even though it's cool, you don't actually need any like miniatures or anything to play Destiny. I mean, you can just sit down at a table and play, and you can have this whole thing where, depending on how the character's made, like you could have a woman that her character was like a noble, but her family got betrayed, so now she's out there, you know, trying to survive in the harsh galaxy as a mercenary, at least until she can get, you know, stuff together to retake her rightful place from her evil uncle that killed her father and ran her off. I mean, you see what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's just a little, I mean, that would work for any setting, but it
Yeah.
would work for Destiny
Yeah.
because of the whole, if you play 3025, because of the feudalism and the fact that you've got these noble families and they're not all friends, even if they're all in the same house, especially if you play House Merrick, because like I said,
Yeah, they used to fight a lot. I understand.
if they're not fighting Steiner, they're fighting each other. That's the rule there. And every now and then they'll beat the shit out of House Loud just for shits and giggles. They'll go after the Capellans. I mean, one part of House Merrick used to be Capellan for like hundreds of years. The Tikhonov Protectorate,
Yeah.
which is all Russian. Like the main language in that whole region is Russian. It was part of the Capellan Confederation, and then House Merrick rolled in and was like, "No, this is all ours now."
Did you realize that House Liao seems to be inspired in Flash Gordon?
By what?
By Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon.
If you're
Like-
talking about Emperor Ming,
Yeah, Emperor Ming is like Maximilian Liao. Romano Liao is like the daughter of Ming. And you have Candance, who is basically like Dale Arden. They both after the same guy, you know, like. So
which one of them is it that decided to become like the high priest of an Aztec religion? One of the House Lao people decided that they were going to bring back the Aztec faith.
I don't remember that.
They were like sacrificing humans and shit. It was like, what in the hell, House Lao? I do know one thing about House Lao that I guess is braggable. If you invade their world and they feel like they're not winning, they will just start, you know, I don't want to say the word because, you know, YouTube gets mad, but
Yeah. But I
they will
understand.
self-delete if they can take you with them. Why they call them the death commandos? Because every citizen of the Capellan Confederation is so brainwashed. It's like, forget about it.
Nope, I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
All right. Yeah, they're so brainwashed. They're basically like the sci-fi version of freaking North Korea, you know? And except apparently all of the North Koreans that got sent to help the Russians, when they got access to internet, they immediately all become porn addicts. And the Russians had the hardest time ever, like make them leave their tents because they're just in there freaking self-abusing, like nonstop because they'd never
Right.
seen that shit.
Of course.
And then on top of that, a lot of them went AWOL and fled into the Russian countryside because they just don't want to go home. They're like, fuck it. You know, we'd rather take our chances in Siberia than go back to North Korea. Which tells you something. Plus, they're not very. It turns out they're not really good fighters. Like Ukrainians are rocking them pretty hard. The Russians, the actual Russian troops are rocking Ukrainians, but North Koreans.
And they are short.
Yeah.
So it must be harder to be like a badass, being a little bit shorter, because the strength, the speed, all this.
I wouldn't say that, because one of
That's cool, isn't
America's
it?
most badass people on the planet was like 4'11".
Really?
Don't take that off. Oh, careful.
Uh-oh, he's talking to us.
Uh-oh. Leth is babysitting.
Yeah.
That's his babysitter. His name is Audie Murphy.
Yep.
Actually, in real life, I think he was 5-something, but he was too short to actually join the Marine Corps.
Really?
So he joined the Army. And he should have been too short to join the Army, but it was World War II, so they were like, F it, we're going to slide you through anyway. And then this guy ended up winning, Congressional Medals of Honor. I mean,
Wow.
he by himself fought off a whole damn battalion of German SS Panzerlehr troops or some shit.
Wow.
Got wounded like a dozen times, just kept going.
Well, I stand corrected.
Attacked, literally by himself, attacked German tanks and destroyed them, and then used the guns on a burning tank to how tanks got the gun mounted on the top. He jumped up on a tank that was literally burning to grab that gun and turn it on the German forces. I mean, they made a movie about him, starring him as him.
Wow.
Plus, he was in a lot of Westerns, too. Yeah, the short thing ain't that big of a deal. Ask the Gurkhas. That's true. Your average Gurkha is not a very tall guy, but is he a complete badass? Audie was 5'5" and 110 pounds.
Wow.
But the Spirit of the Lord took control of his body, and he just decided he would not be beaten. Not on that day. So, yeah, every award you can think of earning, he got.
Interesting, because I used to believe that the tallest guy had the advantage.
Oh, no. You don't want to be the tallest guy in a war.
No.
You're going to get shot.
Oh.
The bigger and taller and more muscular you are, the harder it is to hide behind things.
Well, yeah.
So you got a guy like Audie Murphy. That dude can hide behind a freaking twig. Poor Vic over here, he ain't hiding behind anything. They're going to see his ass 2 miles away.
So I always said if I was going to be in the Army, I'd be a sniper, somebody that sits back, because you'd see me.
Yeah. You've got platoon of infantry
or a pilot,
and you've got.
No, I can't be a pilot. Too tall.
You know who the enemy's shooting, right?
Too tall to be a pilot. Too tall to be in a submarine. Too tall to be. There was a bunch of MOSs I could not be in because I couldn't fit in the equipment.
In the Army, you probably
I couldn't be a tank driver. Couldn't be a tank driver. Couldn't be a whole bunch of stuff. It's just nope. You don't fit. Can't be there.
They like their tank drivers to be about 5'8" to 5'10".
Yeah.
Because I mean, he had nightmares the rest of. I'm sure he did.
Well, there is still a chance to be analyst in an office.
Yeah.
Analyst, it's a
He
valuable
could have
job.
become a supply officer somewhere.
Yes,
Because I'll tell you what, if I had a fire team out and we were all walking around and there was an enemy sniper in Iraq, you know who's catching it first. The guy that's.
I think I'm gonna have to go. I'll see you.
Okay. And unfortunately, that would be Vic. Because I mean, the enemy sniper is going to take out the guy that's a head taller. That's just human nature. You're not going to shoot the shortest guy in the squad. You take out the tallest guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, Vic wouldn't want to be an infantryman.
No. Like I said,
it could be though. That's the thing. A lot of infantry units, they got big ass dudes in them, but in hand to hand, height is an advantage due to mechanics. Well, yeah, reach and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But a shorter guy, especially if you're fighting with knives, if he knows what he's doing, he's going to close in,
Mm-hmm.
and then your height and reach actually becomes a disadvantage.
Mm. Interesting.
You know, there's an actual game called Burning Wheel that takes that into consideration, because if you're using a pole arm, you get all these advantages at stabbing guys. You go first and all this and that. But if the guy with the short sword manages to make a maneuver against you and succeed to get within the range of the pole arm, now you're just straight screwed, because you're standing there with pole arm and he's just going to stab you to death, you know?
Mhm.
So you got to try to make a maneuver to get away from him, you know?
Yeah, it was like the short sword that Romans used.
Oh, that was the reason.
Mm.
You run up and you chuck that pylum, and it's like, who cares if you even kill anybody? The whole point was to just stick it in their shields. And then the pylum broke, because they're designed to break on a hinge. So now the guy's got a shield, but it's got this heavy ass thing sticking out of it. So he's probably going to drop his shield. And then when he engages your line, you're going to stab him right in the guts.
Mhm.
That's why if you look at the Romans, who were typically very short, 5'4" maybe, right? Julius Caesar was considered tall, and I think he was like 5'6", 5'7", right? All of their armor is built to deflect blows coming down from above.
And it's standardized. Most of that stuff was standardized so that they didn't have to make all these odd sizes.
Nope.
You know what I
It
mean?
was all like, here's your armor.
Yep.
You joined the Legion, here's your armor. But because everyone they fought was pretty much taller than them. So if you look at Lorica Segmentata, the metal strip armor, look at the way the shoulders slope down, everything slopes down. And then on the Type C helmet, it's got the kick plate in the back, so that if a tall guy tries to, pull a sweep in J to hit you in the back, the kick plate from the helmet to catch it. And it's got a big bronze rod, like almost as thick as your finger, right across the brow ridge, riveted in. That's in case you catch a blow like that. That big thick bar is gonna help you with that,
Mm.
because I mean the Germanic and Celtic people, they were all big as shit. As a Roman umpire, I approve this message. Yeah. So they would go and fight these Celts who, let's be honest, one-on-one. If one Roman legionnaire fought one Celtic warrior, the Celtic warrior would be taking that guy's head home, like 90% of the time. But that was just how the Celts fought, though. They fought one-on-one, right? The Roman ingenuity, their ability to work as a unit, the fact that their armor was made the way it was, there are battles where, like, the Romans would lose, like, less than 100 men and kill, like, thousands of Celts. Just completely massacre them. But it was because the Celts just, and they never really adapted, Plus,
Yeah.
The real reason the Romans were so powerful, not to go off on a tangent, is engineering. Like, they would march 20 miles a day, then build an actual fort. And I don't mean some bullshit. I mean palisade walls, some towers,
Mhm.
sleep, wake up the next morning, tear the fort down, do their walking. And then when they would besiege somebody, like when they were besieging Vercingetorix, they built a siege, like trench wall, everything around the city. But then other Celts started attacking from the outside. So they built another one facing out, so that the Romans were between the two walls. So, they were starving the city out, but now they had the wall to keep any of the other Celts trying to break the siege. I mean, these guys could just build anything, anywhere. They only really lost one major battle, and that's Teutoburg. And that was because Hermann the German, who was a Roman soldier for a very long time, he understood the weakness of the Roman way of fighting.
And they think that also Crasso is the name, or
He had a Roman name, but we nicknamed him Herman the German.
the Caras, the Battle of Caras, or something like that was.
Oh yeah. He got beat by the Persians, and they poured gold in his mouth.
Mhm.
And of course, Hannibal did completely wreck a Roman legion. That was just better generalship. Plus, he used their formation against them. He crammed them in so tight they couldn't fight. But what Herman did is he caught them marching through a forest where he knew the Germans could ambush them. Arminius, yeah, that might be his name. He knew that the Romans couldn't form.
Crassus, yes.
Yeah, they couldn't form into their formations. They couldn't do the things they wanted to do. So it ended up to be small groups of Romans fighting this horde of Germans. And they just couldn't win. But yeah, Crassus, who was the richest man maybe in all of history, thought it'd be a good idea to invade the Persians. And they're like, nah, we're not doing this. And they ended up like when the general of the Persians was having the feast after the battle, they had his head on the table.
Yeah, he had a terrible end too.
He, I think, was part of what they call the triumvirate. It was like Caesar, Crassus, and someone else, and they were the ones that were like, running amok and basically destroying the Republic. Crassus got all of his money because when legionnaires would join the legion and go away for 20 years, he would buy all of their farms. And then when they get out of the army and come home, they'd find out that they don't even own their own land anymore. And that was kind of the beginning of the downfall of Rome because, it created this class of poor, not citizens, but they were poor. They didn't own any land anymore, whereas in the beginning, Rome was very virtuous. You owned your land and your wife wasn't a whore and you fought for the Republic and whatever. But as, centuries go on, they just, didn't do what they're supposed to do. And Crassus was part of that. Yeah, he is a big part of that. I mean, that'd be like me get drafted to go to war and then coming home and someone else is living in my house and my wife is out on the street. Because that'd piss you off, right? And then you get riots in Rome nonstop. Yep.
Yeah. Difficult part of history.
Yeah, but a great part of history.
Yeah.
I remember when my wife saw something online and she came in and she's like, how often do you think about Rome? And I was like, all day, every day. And she's like, yeah. And I said, notice I have a Roman flag hanging in front of me. And she's like, I didn't know that was Roman. And I was like, well, technically Eastern Rome, but still counts. Not a day passes that I don't think about Eastern Rome and Constantinople and plan for our eventual recovery of Constantinople and the rest of Cappadocia.
Oh.
One day, according to the prophets, those Turks will be driven to the wind. They'll no longer even exist. A third of them will convert to Christianity. A third of them will die in the war. And the other third will be driven into the wilderness. And then the city bells will ring again. Anyway, that's what St. Paisios said about it back in like the 40s or 50s. So, if you're Orthodox, you have that hope in your heart. One day soon, the Turks are going to get it. And the Eastern Roman Empire will rise again. And Constantinople will be ours. And the Hagia Sophia will be repaired. And there will be services there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. Or maybe it's a dream. I don't know. I believe it. But
Who knows? The most unthinkable things can happen in human history.
that's
So,
true. Well, there's a lot more to the prophecy. Basically, Turkey attacks Russia for some reason, which makes, they've been acting up lately. And Russia crushes Turkey and then gives what used to be Eastern Rome over to Greece because Russians don't want it. So they give it to Greece. So the Greeks come in and they reestablish, the Eastern Roman Empire, which was a Greek thing, So, yeah. Like a year ago, the Turks were acting up like they wanted some shit with Russia. And I was just sitting there like, is this going to be the time? Is it getting ready to happen? I mean,
Ergosian and his all Turkish empire. He wants to go back to Ottoman Turk Empire or whatever it is.
Yeah, Erdogan. He wants to be
bring the
thing
the Ottoman Empire again. Yeah.
Plus, Turkey's supposed to be a secular nation, but he is making it more and more fundamentalist. Which I'm not necessarily against fundamentalism, just not his version of it. I'm not a fan of his version of it. I like my version of it. But hey, I'm a hypocrite.
Talking about insignias.
Yeah.
Look.
Clan Ghost Bear, look at you.
And look at this.
Is that the
Canopus?
Canopus, yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that are like out on the rim, but every now and then they kind of tour. Wolves?
This is the Kellhounds.
Oh, Kellhounds. Nice. I didn't know that.
And this one you're going to recognize.
Well, I mean, that's when the Free League and that's when Steiner and Davian united.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And let me see what else. This one.
Crescent Hawk.
Crescent Hawk, yeah.
Which is, I think, House Merrick, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah, I think they're House Merrick.
And this one too?
That looks like, is that Jade Falcon or?
Jade Falcon, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jade Falcon. Let me see if there is anything else. Nope.
I don't know.
Jose's got so much stuff. I think his wife has relegated him to a bedroom there.
Look at this. Look at this.
Looks like a star.
Cool. Star League, right?
Yes.
I don't know where I put it. It used to be magnetized around here somewhere, but I've got my big free league or free world league Purple Hawk. So, but let me grab this. Yeah, see that?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
So if somebody asks me how often I think of Rome,
Rome.
every day.
Okay.
That is the royal banner of Eastern Rome. The other one, which I have, I folded it up, is the orange one that's got like the eagle in the middle and then it's got the 4 crosses. That's the like military banner. But behind me, I have, this was, that's my prayer corner. That's a super old icon of Christ. And, well, there's my fire helmet, too, hanging on the wall. And my Death Corps of Creed cosplay uniform hanging up there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look really close at a lot of pictures these days at Russian soldiers, you'll see they have that icon of cross as a little patch on their uniforms. And the other thing that Russian soldiers are doing that I think is funny is they're starting to decorate their uniform with prayer seals like Space Marines. So they have a priest write out psalms, and then they hang it from their armor so that they have literally, they're doing the whole Space Marine purity seals and shit. It's like,
Yeah,
hey,
I
if
know.
it works, man.
If I go to the battlefield, I am sure that people will be intimidated by this, right?
Oh yeah, the Canapus thing. They'll be more wondering where the cat girls are. They'll be like, I was told there would be cat girls.
Hmm.
Isn't that Canopus that does the big like zoo, not zoo, basically like Mardi Gras spaceship that travels around with gambling and everything on it, and no one really messes with them because it's like, why? You know, they're just trying to entertain the troops with cat girls and gambling. I mean, why would anybody be angry about that? But Canopus is funny. That would be Lett's army, I think.
I'll be back.
Okay. It'd be like, wait, I can have a live action waifu? I'm down. Canopus for life. Arminius. Yes, he was Arminius for the longest time, and then he decided he'd go ahead and betray the Romans and help the Germans inflict one of the worst defeats the Romans ever had. I think they lost 3 legions, which is, you know, what's his name? The warrior poet. He walked the palace, ripping at his hair and robes and stuff, screaming how he wanted his legions back. Paul Moon.
Paul Moon, this is me. Pablo
You're Paul.
Luna. Pablo Luna. In
Is
English.
that your?
Is that my name in English?
Well, yeah, Luna, the moon.
Yeah, Pablo Luna. And this is from BattleTech.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm part of the canon, right?
Look at you. You're inadvertently in the canon.
I am in the canon, of the game. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny. Yes, I thought that it would be a good note of humor for today.
I have somehow 3D printed 10 schismatic nuns, while an army can only have 4. So I guess I just wanted to make sure that I had a broad selection. This I need to start working on. These are my Trench Legion, but they're
cool.
They're Cossacks. So the next step will be to give them their zenithal highlight and then go online and find out what the Cossacks were actually wearing during World War I. Because they did fight in World War I. They're Russian,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So, but the one picture I saw, they were wearing like really like almost dark gray blue jackets and pants. And then the hat's black, but the top's red with a cross on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course, I replaced the normal straight bladed sword that they'd normally have with a saber, because I mean they're Cossacks. They gotta have their saber. That's a huge part of their culture. Actually, is that saber, So.
I was reading about Japanese samurai swords the other day. It was quite fascinating in how they would make those, and how they use clay to make the designs on the blade themselves, and how the craftsmanship was that by doing different layers of the clay, that would leave the images of like waves or mountains and stuff like that on the blades. It was fascinating how and the hours they put inside of each blade. So
Yeah, they
The
a big part of
sophistication.
that was when they would go to like heat and temper the blade, they would put a layer of clay on the spine of the blade so that the edge and a little bit up would temper and get really, really hard, but the spine would stay soft. And another thing they would do a lot of times is they would wrap hardened steel around soft steel to do that. The main reason is because Japanese steel sucks, always has. It sucks balls. And that's why they have to make swords the way they do. So by doing that, it helps the katana not just snap the second it hits something. I mean, regardless of that, your average Japanese samurai in battle used a yari anyway. They rarely. The katana was a ceremonial weapon or a last ditch thing, whereas the yari is basically a spear with an iron, poker on the end. Or a lot of samurai would just use bows. In order to be a samurai, you were expected to be really good with a bow, even from horseback. That was a thing. But like in the modern day, a lot of wakasashis that we currently have began their life as katanas, got broke in half, so they just remade it into the wakasashi to get another katana. In Japan, in order to get steel or iron, they have to use the iron sands. And unfortunately, it's got so much silica in it. That's why they have to fold it. Every time they fold it, they're driving out the impurities. So they fold it and they fold it and they fold it to get as much of the impurities out as possible. And then they the original Japanese sword looked almost like a Tai Chi sword. It was a straight bladed sword. But then it changed to the curved blade with one edge instead of two.
It must be fascinating to be able to forge weapons like that, right? Ancient weapons.
Oh, it's amazing that they could do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you look at Europe, like in Europe, we had so many high quality veins of iron laying around that you could literally just take this iron, do whatever, heat treat it. You could just make a mold and pour a sword into the mold, pull that blank out, heat treat it, and then put an edge on it. And it would be every bit as strong and flex one good as the sword that the Japanese swordsmith had to work 300 hours on, because the materials sucked. That's also why if you look at Japanese armor, which did use steel, despite what some people say, it's always very small pieces of steel. The only time you see a Japanese like samurai wearing a big breastplate, it's after they start trading with the Portuguese. And one of the first things they wanted was iron and metal armor. Because imagine if you're like a super skilled swordsmith, what you can do if you get your hands on some actual high quality steel. Then you're making, some like +3 katana type shit.
Mhm.
But, I've studied Japanese warfare prior to the advent of gunpowder, and it was mostly bowmen and spearmen. It was rarely would anybody pull a sword out. And then after gunpowders were added, they started just equipping everybody with arquebuses and freaking firelocks and shit like that. So, it's hard to imagine that their warring period was like 1600 something.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I admire a lot your knowledge about history.
Well, I read a lot. My mom
Yeah.
insists.
Yeah.
She insisted.
If you don't read something every day, then you know what? You are a dullard, as far as I'm concerned. I just got done reading a Tom Clancy book that is every bit could be the sequel to Hunt for Red October. Let me find the number of it.
I like Tom Clancy. Well, I think he might have passed.
He did. Tom Clancy died a while ago.
You know, the stuff he wrote, he was so good at writing because I think he might have actually been involved in that shit.
Cool.
No, he wasn't, but he got a lot of detailed. No, this is what I was told. He got a lot of detailed information because some of the stuff he was actually writing about, they would go, "Oh crap! How does he know this?" So the
You
FBI
got about Hunt for Red October.
Right. Yeah.
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 So what happened
Here's
was
the name
Hunt for
of the
Red
book.
October, he got approached by both the American defense intelligence and the Soviet intelligence. And both of them were like, "How the fuck do you know all of this?" He's like, "Your public information and thinking.
Yeah,
That's how I figured it out."
it's,
Well,
it's
You shit out of them, man.
I don't know if you remember, like Bear, a year ago when somebody was correcting like War Tanks Online or whichever one of those it was with how certain vehicles actually were. And it turned out it was secret information. It was like, and it was like, oh yeah, the U.S. government was pissed because they're like,
logical deduction, man. A lot of it's logical deduction. You cannot do this. You know what I mean? It's just that's what it is. It's just logical deduction, what it is. So, I mean,
well, in this case, it turned out it was like a guy in the Air Force that was like sending in shit to Gation
I'll be back.
to correct them or something
Mhm.
on how a certain jet should be or something. And it's like, wait a minute, you don't do that.
Right. Well, it's like I said, logical deduction. And a lot of people that if they've got even an inkling of engineering ability, they'll be able to go, hey, it doesn't work like that. You know, this is, you know.
Well, I don't have an inkling of engineering ability.
Can you put a carburetor together, James?
I can fix one, yes.
Okay, you got an inkling of engineering ability.
Yeah, but
I mean,
you have to remember, I'm Gen X. We used to be like, it was like you fixed your own car.
well, I'm Gen X, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, if I put a carburetor in front of one of my kids, they look at it and go, "Where do you want it replaced at?" I'll be like, "No, you see the little kit next to it? You use that to fix it." And my kids would sit there and look at it for days. You know what I mean? Before they even tackled it. While me and you would be like, let's go for it. Let's spread it all out. Let's figure out where it goes where, and we'll put it back together. You know?
I used to have to tune in the carburetor. I had a dual carb setup on my VW, and I'd have to hook the tube up to the top of it and turn the VW on, and then adjust the distributor cap until the little ball would be in the middle, showing that both carbs were pulling the same amount of fuel. And at which point you could turn it off and remove the thing and put the thing back on. I mean, there was a time, not that I want to go back and be like, but there was a time where I could rebuild a VW from the ground up. I'm not even joking. Like, I could replace the freaking drive shaft. I could replace everything because I did.
You could still do it, and it's just, you know, just admit it. You can still do it. It's not what it's like riding a bike. Once you've done it once or twice, you could probably do it again, not a problem, unless there's a physical disability that's going to throw you off. You know.
To be fair, those old VW air-cooled engines are just about as simple as you could get.
Oh, I know. I've picked one up before. Just
That's how when I pulled my engine, which was a 1600, I went under on my I want to call it a skateboard, but it's not. Disconnected the engine from the tranny, which is just 4 big ass bolts, right?
Oh yeah.
Laid it on my chest, slid out from underneath the van, and then rolled it off of me, got up, and then picked it up and carried it over to the workbench, set it down. I mean, it weighed 180, 200 pounds, but back then, I could manhandle a couple hundred pounds, no problem. And then, of course, it just had a ring of bolts around it.
Yeah.
You pull all the bolts off, and the whole engine opens up like a clamshell. And everything in the engine's just right there. It's like super easy. These modern cars, like my wife's car had an issue. I went out, opened the hood, and I was like, yeah, nope. I don't even know what half of this is or where it's connected, or like I couldn't find the battery on her car.
Oh my God.
Because the battery is underneath the fuse box, which is next to, I don't even know what it is. It's just a big cowl.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's there. It's like, why is this here? What is this for?
I look at that stuff.
There. It's
I
there
go
to
under.
make people like me lose their mind and be like,
I look at it, James, and I look at. I mean, my girlfriend's car's a 2006 Honda CRV. I can get around in it just fine. Anything after about 2009, forget it. Forget it.
Hey, let's talk about anything other than cars. Jesus Christ. I'm like,
Well, we were talking about the Roman Empire before this. We were talking about.
we
can
had a
you
whole
guys
thing about
be
Rome.
less stereotypical white Anglo-Saxon males, please?
Well, I have to correct you, sir. I am a minority.
Fine. Could you be please less white North American males, please, and not talk about
Technically,
Roman
I am a
cars?
person of color now.
Oh my God! Shut up! We already had this conversation. I'm not taking your bait.
Hey, I'm not the one that determined that Slavs were persons of color.
Yes.
I'm sure all the Russians right now are just sitting around being like, what? We're people of color? When did that happen?
What do you want?
I don't think so.
Bear's talking to the cat. The cat's not participating. Oh yeah, there you go. Cat's thinking this is fun.
You've got attention, buddy.
Does the cat have?
I'm back.
Does the cat have its claws still, Bear?
Oh yes, I will never declaw a cat.
Okay.
No,
That's
it's
like
not
cutting off
good.
your fingers, man. It's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. I love otters. And the one thing is there's this Japanese channel where they own otters. But if you look really, really close, you can tell their whole first knuckle has been removed.
Oh,
The tips of their paws to the knuckle gone.
yeah.
And it's like, if you have to mutilate an animal like that to own it, don't own it.
Yeah.
Of course, if they didn't do that, those otters would tear everything up, which is good. They should. They're otters. They're not made to be pets.
If I had otters, I would make them an outdoor enclosure and just here, you guys could run nuts out here all day long. You know what I mean? I would make slides out of PVC pipe and all that stuff. And, I'd send my girlfriend out there. They're yours. I'm just here to help facilitate your little fantasy of playing with otters.
Your vicinity of owning things that should not be domesticated. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That'd be like your cat, Bear. It'd be like, oh, you want a silicone rope PVC covered pipe? Okay, here you go. I did that for a couple of my ex-wife's cats. They
I would argue that the cat domesticated Bear, not the other way around.
Well, the cat domesticated itself historically, so we're good.
It was like, look, you got something I want, and I will tolerate you touching me occasionally.
Yeah.
But no more than 3 belly rubs, or I will claw you, as according to protocol.
Well, when I used to teach, like I used to have a lot of new Canadians, and I'd get these people from Africa, from like Kenya and Cameroon and stuff like that, and they
Yeah.
loved dogs and they hated cats. And I'd be like, "Why do you hate cats?" And they go, "Well, you know, witches use cats and this and that and the other thing." And I'd have to explain to them how dogs let us stop running around because we could sleep at night with them guarding us, and cats allowed us to store food. The only difference is we turned the dog into what it is. The cat just showed up and went, "Oh, you have something that attracts the things I eat. I believe I will stay here and hang out and get the free food. Thank you. Oh, yes, that petting me is good. Thank you. Yes, get me a blanket." You know, like cats domesticated themselves. And apparently I was reading something recently, like maybe twice, you know, like maybe they went wild at one point and then came back again. And we're like, no, this is a much better deal for us than running around out in the woods. You know, it's like, it's insane. Cats are fucking insane.
Well, it's that when the Egyptians started building the big grain storage things, the
Granaries,
cats
yeah.
were like, "Yeah, f that living in the wild bullshit.
Hey,
If we hang
look
out
at that.
around this grain storage
Mice
shit."
and lizards right here. Look at that. I don't go nowhere. I just eat here for free. All right.
You want
let's
to know
see.
what's crazy though?
Mhm.
The Romans domesticated the ferret.
The parrot?
Ferret.
Oh, the ferret.
Ferret.
Except
Yeah.
the English call it the black-footed polecat. They domesticated that before cats
Well, they used to say legions
and
used
used
to
it
have
for
their
the
own
same
cat.
things though.
Yeah.
You know, they would have their pet ferrets that they would keep around the granaries. And, you know, ferrets love to kill shit.
Yeah.
Even when they're not hungry, they love to kill stuff.
Same as these fuckers.
So, you know, and then later the ferret as a pest control device was replaced by the much more effective, much less smelly cat.
You hear that? You smell less than a ferret.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
love ferrets and I've owned them, but boy, they can get musty, and the worst thing you can do is overwash them, because if you overbathe them, it just sets their oil glands into hyperdrive
Uh-oh.
and they get stinkier. So there's
Uh-oh.
like this fine freaking line you got to walk with a ferret, you know, and never own one because they'll get depressed and die. You always want to own 2 or 3. Unless you can spend a lot of time with the ferret every day. Otherwise, yeah, they'll get lonely and just die. Also, you got to watch what you feed them because their intestines are weird and they can tie into knots and kill them. And, I mean, they're just a pain in the ass, really, but they're adorable. But yeah, cats in Europe, yep. At some point, they were imported to Europe and they just said, yeah, we'll hang out and kill rats. That sounds like a good deal. Let's do that. And the Europeans were like, cool. You know, I mean, it's pretty amazing, really.
Oh, then you got the those little rat terriers and all that stuff, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we bred those little bastards up specifically to be murderous. I had a Jack Russell Terrier before it was renamed to the Parson whatever Terrier. Man, oh man. What a pain in the ass. That thing was. I mean, adorable? Yes, adorable. Smart? Sure. Very smart. Pain directly in my rectum? 100%. That thing was stubborn. It was going to do what it wanted to do whenever it wanted to do it. And bark and carry on and bite anybody and kill everything its size or smaller.
My
Or
uncle used to
bigger.
refer to his as his Jack Russell terrorist.
They are, you know, and people still own them.
Well, they're really good for hunting rats and groundhogs, though.
Rats, groundhogs, bears, you know, whatever. I mean,
I think you need more than one for a bear.
yeah,
Just
but
kidding.
they're not afraid to fight it, is my point.
Yeah.
A bear wanders into your yard, you can have a 15 or a 10-pound Jack Russell Terrier. It'll get on it, bark at it, and F with it. Eventually, a black bear will just leave. They'll be like, nah.
Oh, black bears are pussies, dude.
Yeah, you run out and yell at a black bear, and it's like,
Oh,
okay,
fuck off. Jesus. Unless it's a mother with her cub,
yeah,
black bears are not scary.
nope. Brown bears, on the other hand, you're rolling the dice.
Polar bears, there's no roll.
There's no roll. Yeah.
Scariest thing I've ever seen in the wild, gentlemen. Answer the question. Scariest thing you've ever encountered in the wild that you didn't expect.
Grizzly.
Brown bear. Yeah. Grizz.
Grizzly.
But I should have expected it because we were fishing on Eagle River,
Oh, yeah.
which is pretty far north of Anchorage. And if you're going to be out there fishing for salmon, so are they.
Yeah.
And the thing I learned when I was up there is two things. Moose and big ass brown bears are quiet.
Yes.
They can walk right up on your ass through the woods and you will not hear it
Yeah,
until
because
you
snow-
look up and and when you see a moose at like 20 feet, you realize how big that bastard is.
Mhm.
And you just hope to God that it's not in the mood to kill you that day. And the same with a grizzly. If you
Right.
see a grizz come wandering through, you just hope to God that he's not in the mood to eat you.
All right, Jose, what's your answer? Jose, what's your answer? Scariest thing you've ever encountered out in the wild?
American.
forests.
Yeah, an American tourist.
American Karen.
No, I really haven't seen anything that dangerous. Like
Scariest
that.
thing to me, I was out duck hunting. Didn't think anything of it, just walking through some tall grass, and out came a freaking American badger. Holy shit, did I run? I was like, I can turn my gun and shoot this goddamn thing, but I bet my life that I can run faster than I did. So, I mean, that thing came bolting out of its hole like nobody's business. I was like, holy shit.
Badgers?
Yeah.
Badgers?
Yeah.
We don't need no stinking badgers.
Yeah. That's in two of the funniest movies ever.
Well, UHF.
UHF, and they're making a play on
Well, it's from Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
no, the one that Mel Brooks did. We're there in the West.
Oh, Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. Like
Well, the
when the
original
one guy's on the roof and he's like, "The sheriff's up," and the bell rings. Bing.
Yeah.
And
But
we
yeah,
know, we know what he's saying,
unexpected.
though. But
I've encountered black
Sierra
bears
Madre
when
when
I'm
they're
camping, but that,
attacked by the Federales, and they're like, "Show us your badges," and the Federales are like, "Badges? We don't need no stinking badges." You know.
Yeah.
Joke.
anyways, I've been camping, I've encountered black bears and stuff, but that badger, when it came bolting out of that hole at me,
They're so
growling and
angry.
stuff.
So angry.
Yeah,
Badgers are not pleasant creatures in the wild. They're very angry.
yeah. It was like,
well,
it was like
imagine that, but 50 or 60 pounds.
yeah.
That's called a Wolverine.
Yes, we have them in this country. They're
I know
scary.
you do.
Never
I-
seen
They
one.
are
thank
mad
God,
all
but-
the time at everything. And I don't know what somebody did to the very first Wolverines, but they took it personal. And it's been a personal issue with them ever since.
I think I have an
They
answer.
will back down a brown bear. They will go after a pack of wolves and still its kill. They are the American version of the honey badger if the honey badger was actually malicious. Because honey badgers are typically not really malicious. Wolverines are malicious. They are just they'll steal a kill from an animal, eat their fill, and then poop and pee all over the rest of it before they leave. Just so that they're like, the Wolverine is nature's middle finger to North America. It's like, yeah, we you know,
Jose has an
and
answer.
they will attack
Jose. Hang on, Jose has an answer.
I have an answer to that question. The scariest animal that I have been facing was a German Shepherd that bite me.
Well, a German Shepherd that bit you. Okay, yeah.
Uh,
You shouldn't have been running away from the police. Those little fur missiles could do that. to
No,
you.
it was a lady was the owner, and she left the dog outside, and there were two dogs. One of them was the German Shepherd. I was with my bike, and basically it came and bite me.
All right. We call them fur missiles here because the police use them a lot to send after the crooks.
Yeah.
No, it was not a canine from the police. It was a lady. It was a wild
We
animal.
understand, but we also understand what they can do with their bite too. I mean,
Yeah.
I sympathize, Jose, because when I was a little kid, I was riding my tricycle down the street and the neighbor's collie dog, like Lassie, ran up and grabbed me by the head and pulled me off the thing and just started biting the shit out of me. So if I shaved my hair really short on the top of my head, there's all these scars and stuff
Oof.
where it was chewing on me. And I was like 7. I was of an age where I was still riding a tricycle.
Oof.
And I was in front of my house, and that dog came out into the street and just ate my ass up. I used to have a really bad scar on under here, but over time it kind of just faded away. But
Yeah, war scars. Yeah.
where it like bit my face. So yeah, Jose, I totally now. Instead of making me afraid of dogs, it didn't make me afraid of dogs. It made me more of a. If a dog comes after me, I'm going to throw down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you're
going
more
to.
aware of the dog.
But yeah, I totally can feel your pain with that because I've been.
Yeah, it was biting me in the leg. The fortunate thing is that I had one of those pants that is acid wash or something like that. Remember those pants?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, you
what
had
I was-
jeans.
That protected me. That was very thick, and it protected me. And when I went to the hospital, the doctor said, "Well, as a scratch, it looks ugly, but as a bite, it looks pretty."
Right, because the piercings, that's
Yeah.
what gets you really. A cut, you
Yeah.
can treat a cut and put a bandage on it, but if it's a piercing thing,
Uh-huh.
you don't know what's in the hole,
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
harder to clean, and it's much
Yeah.
more likely to get infected.
Irrigating it,
Yeah.
throwing
Yeah,
hydrogen
it's
peroxide
real.
in it. Ugh.
Yeah.
So I
But
was
that-
lucky; I didn't have any puncture wounds. I just had where it grabbed me and
Uh-huh.
pulled, and just its teeth just raked. And because it was a head injury,
I am
I
sorry
mean,
about that.
we all know head injuries bleed like.
Yeah, like
So I was just covered in blood.
well, the good thing is that I am glad that you survived and you're here, but it must have been scary, just imagine the image of having a child being bitten like that.
It
scares
happened
me
so
off.
quick. I didn't hardly even know it was happening.
Yeah, well,
Like I was riding a tricycle, not even paying attention. The next thing I knew, boom.
yeah, when you
And
told
then
me
the
that,
next thing I knew, I was in the hospital getting stitches.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
like you're seeing my kid. One of my kids half bit off one of his tongue one day, and I brought him home and I looked it up on the internet, seeing if I got to bring him to the emergency room. There's nothing the doctor can really do. And mother comes home, not 30 minutes later, freaks the F out and brings him down there. They don't do anything either, but it still cost me $3,000 for that nonsense,
There's a lot of stuff like that they can't fix. Like if you stub a toe and break a toe, there's not much they can do. They can like put they can make you feel better with like an ice cream stick and some tape.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, there's just not much that can be done about it.
well,
Certain surgeries are just that way. I mean, it's like somebody, my doctor way back when said, "Hey, you need to go have back surgery." That was in my 20s, and I'm just like, "Are you out of your effing mind?" And I never went. I never kept the surgical appointment because I was like,
so
"No, I think I'm going to do a little exercise and see if I can put everything back into place." And
Ja-
worked pretty good until about 11 years ago. Then my girlfriend introduced me to this chiropractor that's got 45 years experience, and he puts me back into place pretty quick. It's just like, every 6 months or so I go visit him and he's just crack. I saw him today and it was like, shh, put it back together. Thank you very much.
The amount of people who die at chiropractors every year is shocking.
I have no idea.
When you actually look into the amount of death that happens on chiropractic tables, it's disturbing. Like, it's not even just like, oh fuck. It's like, holy fuck, how is this legal? Like, it's crazy.
Oh.
They're one of the highest for insurance that they have to pay as a practitioner.
Oh wow. I didn't realize that. Was that
Well,
because you're cracking your neck and stuff, you know?
You know,
Yeah.
and then a heart stops all of a sudden.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it's like you do have a vagal issue there too. I mean, like if you want to make yourself your blood pressure lower, not that anyone should ever do this. All you got to do is like strain like you're trying to poop. Don't poop though, but just strain as hard as you can, like you're trying to poop. You can make yourself pass out. I mean, the human body is weird, man. It does weird shit. It's
People
like I
have
said
heart
with
attacks
women.
taking a poop.
Every female patient gets a 12 lead and the whole workup because they don't have heart attacks the way men do.
oh, I know.
They'll say, oh man, my foot has been hurting all day. And they'll be having a heart attack.
Yeah.
But they feel it in their foot or their butt. Or whereas men, you always know with men, they're like, oh man, I feel like I got a weight on my chest. My arm hurts. I mean, and you're like, yeah, this guy's having a heart attack. I mean, men, 100% almost, not 100%, but almost every time you know what their issue is. But women, good luck. Good luck, man. They just doing their own thing out here, you know?
Well, that's why they say men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right?
I
Well,
read the
and-
book, men
and-
are from Mars and women are from hell. But
And Gen X is a generation that survived. I don't know how. James and me are the living examples of that.
Hey, I'm
Right.
Gen
Well,
X. I think
we're all
they're-
Gen X
No, that
here.
they're
Yeah.
we've all been on that freaking roundabout toy that you got like the
Fucking-
biggest.
oh
my
you know,
God.
and people are
It's like
just
5 of the
off.
biggest guys you can get, fucking pushing it as hard as they can to see how fast, to see who's going to fly off into the bricks first. Fuck.
Oh God.
Gen X people making toys. Hey, let's make a really tall ladder, and let's make it out of stainless steel so it can get
Yeah.
scorchingly hot. every
Yeah.
And then we'll slide down it in the middle of summer in shorts. That sounds like fun. And it's going to be like 20 feet high. It's not going to be like some fucking 10-foot
And
bullshit.
think about that. There were no guards either.
Yeah.
It was like you got a ladder.
There are no guard rails. Dude, the monkey bars.
Yeah,
Those are
man.
monkey
It's
bars.
like
But an inch of sand and then raw dirt. You know what I
our
mean?
playground was probably tougher than the obstacle courses I had to run in basic.
Oh God.
There was more shit on our school playground that could kill you.
Mhm.
Because an obstacle course, you crawl under some shit, you jump over a log, you just do a run around, right? But on that playground, you had those monkey bars. Those things were 15 feet up.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't like you were dragging the ground. I mean, you were up there. You had the
How about gym
Freaking
class?
giant
gym class,
dome of
James.
pipes.
Gym class, the
And-
30-foot
and
rope
what?
up to the ceiling, and you had to go up there and touch the beam and come back down.
The monkey
and
bars
you had
were
that
made of
2-inch pad at the
metal.
bottom.
Yeah.
They're raw metal. So in the middle of summer, you're going bar to bar and you're grabbing fucking steaming hot metal in your hands. This was all, my theory is this. Somewhere in the 1950s, they went, the only way we're going to beat the commies is if we make the kids tough. For when the invasion comes, they'll be able to fight. Well, how are we going to do that, Bob? I've got this crazy idea. It's called monkey bars. It's a merry-go-round. It's a what? It's a merry-go-round. What do you do with it? You spin it fast till someone flies off and gets a head injury. Why would we do that? Because that kid's going to lead the future against communism.
Yeah. I mean, it did make us tougher. I mean, we did do stupid shit that we never should have done, but we did it because we thought it was fun because we were dumb.
Oh God.
There was
They watch Red Dawn.
Oh,
the
God.
most
What complete bullshit. We watched Red Dawn and went, well, yeah.
Yeah.
the most stupid thing that I ever did was my brother had a bike. I had a bike. A friend of mine borrowed the bike of my brother, and I went to his house to bring both bikes.
To what?
I went to his home
Yeah,
to
both
bring
bikes.
back both bikes. Guess what? I was riding one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Right,
see
one
that
way
all
kind
the
of
time
drag the
down
other, and
here.
that just-
And basically, the two front wheels collided. And
Yep.
woo!
All that means is you're not a crackhead.
I have
We see
I
that
have
shit
a
down
I
here
have
all the time, and
a
it just
scar
means,
here.
oh, there goes a crackhead.
I had a scar here because of that.
Because crackheads, they steal bikes, and then you see them riding down the street on their bike with their stolen bike, probably both bikes stolen, honestly, and they're taking the bike they recently sold or stole to the dealer to see if they can
Mhm.
trade it for some
Mhm.
crack or meth, whatever, you know,
Mhm.
drugs.
Yep.
So it is not uncommon
Mhm.
to see some guy riding down the street with two bikes.
Yeah, but
I saw a funny
the
one
problem.
I saw a funny one the other day about TV sets. Yeah, back in our day, it took 4 people to move the dad's TV set. Now you're lucky if a 6-year-old couldn't do it.
The thing is that here it is not flat.
Oh,
So basically, I was in a curve and
Yeah.
it was downhill, and basically both wheels collided, and I learned about what it was to fly without wings.
Good.
yeah. Well, gravity.
You never did that again, did you?
I learned the pain of gravity here.
But you never did that again, did you?
You got it.
Exactly. That's what Gen X was about.
Yeah.
Survival.
Survival.
Well, that was a stupid idea. I
Yeah,
don't think I'll be doing that again. Or, holy fuck, I pulled that off. I'm doing
Yeah.
that again.
yeah, that's it.
We used to have a sledding hill up in Fargo, North Dakota, coming off the dike down to the river. We would purposely go down to the bottom and build a ramp. this thing is at 100 feet, got to be 60 degrees, whatever it is. We go down that thing as fast as we can, hit that ramp, and we go off, and we'd be like, okay, either hold on or you're in midair and you're doing the tumble.
What do I do next?
I was in a metro station near where I went to high school about a couple years back, and I saw the stairs. And I was looking at them and going, this is about a 75-foot staircase going straight down to the metro station.
Right.
I used to run down this every day after school, 2-3 steps at a time. I'm concerned about going down it 1 step at a time right now. What the fuck was I thinking in high school? I literally would just be like, bop, 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 to the bottom and then run to the metro, you know? We used
Yeah,
to
but you
jump over everything, slide on everything. We didn't give a fuck.
Nope.
Now
We
I'm like,
survive.
I stand up the wrong way and my back's out for 2 days. Like, come on. Fuck.
I mean, back in the day, everything was a toy.
Everything was a what?
Toy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when you left the house, it didn't matter what it was, whether it was a stick or a rock or, I mean, you're going to find a way to play with whatever it was in some way.
Yeah, and your mom and dad didn't have you tethered to a cell phone or anything else. It's like, be back by the time the lights turn on.
Yeah, that's how it was. It's like, all right. And for me, because of the way I was raised, like during summer or something, I could tell my parents or whatever, we're going to go down to the lake and camp out for a day or two and fish and stuff, right? And my parents would be like, do you got your rifle with you? Yeah. You got some food? Yeah. You got a blanket? Yeah. Okay, we'll see you in a couple days then. And we would walk the 5 or 6, 7 maybe miles down to the Lake Cumberland. And then we would find a decent place to set up our little camp, and we would be there for 2 or 3 days. I mean, poor Hungar almost died one time because of it, because it was like a nice 70 degrees one day. We went to bed at night, and I stole his blanket because I didn't mean to. I was asleep. And when we woke up, the top of the lake was frozen over. And our bait can full of worms was frozen, and a cliff rat had taken a big dump right in the middle of our cast iron skillet. And I mean, and he was blue and shaking, and so we had to build a fire to get him, up from hypothermia. It was like, because that's how Kentucky can be in the fall. You're out there and it's like 75 degrees. You're like, this is nice, and then overnight it's like 10 degrees. Boom! It's like But so after we ate the food we brought. And first we had to bust the ice, which wasn't thick. It was just barely, a centimeter thick. Look at me using your terms, Bear.
Ooh, a centimeter.
We scrubbed out, so half an inch. We scrubbed out our pan. Then we ate our beef stew over the campfire, got nice and hot and ate it. And then we collected some geodes and cracked them open to see, what was in them. And after a while, we're like, yeah, it's fucking cold. And we went home because we weren't dressed for the weather either. We're just wearing long sleeve shirt and
inches.
Oh, I was gonna say, has my wife been talking to you?
What?
I was gonna say, has my wife been talking to you?
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. All right,
Is it? I bought this to play Alpha Strike.
there you go.
Here you go, gentlemen. I got my micrometer.
That's why you marry a very
have
small
this.
wife, if you're me.
One of my girlfriends had very small hands. I was like, I'm huge.
Nice.
I'm a god.
Hey, I got my ruler too. Don't.
All right. Look, we're men. I got a toolkit back here too. We're all good.
Yeah. Hey, James. I remember those days like that too. I'd be out golfing and I'm having a good time out here, and all of a sudden it's snowing around me, and I got shorts on and a t-shirt. I'm like, oh, this sucks. Welcome to North Dakota.
That's what I was gonna say. You deserve it though. You're in North Dakota.
If you get caught by surprise weather in Canada, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah,
not
because it's
prepared.
just a given in Canada. It's gonna happen.
What's that? It was
It's a given
March,
in Canada.
and you decided
It
to wear
is
shorts
going
and a
to
t-shirt
happen.
to the woods, and you weren't expecting a sudden March snowstorm? Well, you're a fucking moron or new to this country. Which is it?
Because you should have known. It's like as soon as you showed up, you should have known that there was going to be some shit, But see, Kentucky, you expect maybe some rain.
We have an expression
You
in
don't
Canada.
expect the temperature to drop by 65 degrees overnight.
My ex-wife was on me, and she goes, "Why did you give all the boys safety kits for the back of their car?" And I'm just like, why?
Because we live in the wilderness. If they break down, they could die.
It was like, it's got everything in here in case they have a flat, and it also had a free towing thing on it. You know what I mean? For Goodyear. I was like,
Yeah.
they get a free tow, honey, or a mom or ex-wife. They get a free tow back home. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. This isn't that hard to figure out,
Yeah.
My wife has her kit. I made her a kit especially for her. It's got a jumper. It's got a thing to fill your tires. It's got a knife, an emergency blanket. All the shit.
Yeah, same with
That you might need,
my
you know?
kids.
Hopefully you never use it, but every now and then I go out and I change out the battery and the tire filler thing, and that way I know wherever she goes, if she gets a flat, she can limp it somewhere. It's silly not to. It's like, who's going to argue against being basically prepared for some negative thing to happen? But anyway, what I know about North Dakota is this, because my brother went to college there. They get cold snaps that are so rough that it freezes the squirrels in the trees. And then in the spring, when it thaws out, the dead squirrels fall out of the trees. Now that is one hell. Oh, nice. That's the thing you've been working on, huh?
Nice, Jose.
No, it is
That's beautiful.
drawing.
Jose, is that your art?
That's art I make. Yes.
Motherfucker, I'm so glad we've secured you to help us with the heroic. God.
Yeah, he makes good art. That art almost reminds me of the interior art from Star Frontiers.
I was going to say Star Frontiers or Traveler 2300.
This is one that I have not finished. As you can see, a Marauder there.
Yeah,
I got to
that
reboot my
Marauder
computer. I'll be right
looks
back,
nice.
guys. I'll be right back.
And that's going to be Jose right there, the pilot of the Marauder. He's doing a self-portrait of him with his mech.
This is a Griffin.
Yeah, she's in a Griffin. Well, she is not only a pretty young lady, but she has fine taste in mechs.
Yeah, this is my wife's character. Oh
Well,
my
there you
God,
go.
I scared Bear. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Did
All
I?
she's got to do is stay away from anybody and pepper them with that PPC until they get tired of it.
Yeah. So basically, that's the character of my wife. She asked me to make a drawing of that, and I made that drawing of her character.
Jose, you have what they call talent. Something
Yeah.
I unfortunately was never gifted
but-
with in any form.
Yeah, you have a talent. You're a firefighter.
That's not talent. That's just being crazy enough to go do shit.
Yeah, but
What
it's
you have is
badass.
artistic
It's
talent.
badass.
There's no art to what I do.
Are
What I
you
do
going to? Are you going to tell me that being a firefighter is not badass? I would say
It's
so.
badass, but it's not talent.
Yeah, well,
You have a talent
it is practice.
to
I would say
create
it
art.
is practice. It is
To
practice.
me, do I know how to use a halogen bar to open basically any door on the planet? Yes. But
I am
that's not talent, that's training.
That's training. That's training.
Somebody trained me to slam it into the door, let my buddy hit it on the back with the flat side of the axe, and then give it a twist.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah,
open anything.
yeah. That's training too.
You know, that's just training. You
Training.
can train a monkey to do our job. We used to joke about at some point robots will be doing our job because it's really just not that difficult. But on the other hand, what you got, that's talent.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I can't draw
Thank
it
you.
with a damn either though, Jose. And I've
Okay,
tried
so-
so many times.
Jose's
Thank
working
you.
on a picture for us right now,
Yeah.
and he's just showing us the pencil sketches, and they're pretty good. But seeing that, the inked finals he's doing for other art, I'm more than confident what he's doing for us. is
Okay.
gonna
Let me bring some more stuff. One moment.
be okay. Tremendously talented artist,
Some
And-
people.
and not an asshole. Do you know how
No,
many fucking
those
artists I
are
work
very-
with who are
very
complete
humble. Very-
assholes?
Yeah, very humble. He's definitely not a Zach Sabbath,
Oh dear God!
you know, who makes a book and thinks he's like God's gift to everything.
Do you ever remember I don't know if you know old school wrestling. You're from the South. Remember the Golden Greek John Tolis?
I do not.
Back in the 70s, early 80s, he was a manager. He was a wrestler, then became a manager. He's in a movie called the Wrestling Movie. I was high and on the shitter. Nice.
Hey, I wasn't even going to ask, but there you go.
There it
All right, what do we
is.
got? That's nice.
We got a peasant with a pitchfork and a knife.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
her
ready to
Here
defend
we
the
have-
village.
exposed.
We've
This
got
warrior.
superhero or something.
Yeah.
It's a chick with a spear or something. It looks like Chitara.
Very much.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, in reference to what you were just saying about Zach, whatever the fuck, Zach Sabbath, there's a movie called Grunt the Wrestling Movie, which is actually kind of funny. It's a low, cheesy 80s movie. And at one point, John Tolis is giving an interview about the other guy's manager, this chick, and he goes, I don't know who the fuck she is, but she came down here and she spread her legs and she lit her panties and suddenly, boom, she's a fucking manager. And just what you were saying about Zach Sabbath was like, that reminded me of that. I would like to see you as a wrestling manager. I think you'd be awesome.
That yeah, if I don't know if I could be that aggressive
No, but you could still do your thing. It'd be
because
fun. That's
yeah,
really good
they're
work,
all
Jose.
putting it on though. So
Oh, of
yeah,
course.
I might be able to do that.
So one of the secrets you learn in wrestling is they teach you that the gimmick that is closest to your real personality will always be the one that gets over with the fans.
Right.
Good or bad, heel or
Yeah.
face.
Like, who could ever beat Mean Gene Okerlund or fucking the Paul Bear?
Paul Bear. Precious Percy Pringle.
The Claw. What's his name? Baron
von Raschke. Iron Claw. Okay, you want to talk about like fucking wrestling personalities that are paint drying? It's from Big Vic's part of the world, the AWA, back with Vern Gagne.
Vern Gagne,
Yeah.
believe it or not,
Yeah.
accidentally killed a guy. He's got dementia or Alzheimer's, and he killed another resident of the same nursing home that he was in. It was
Really?
an accident. Yep. And he thought he was in a wrestling match, and he did something to the other guy, and the guy died. It was
Well, it turns out when you suplex somebody on an actual hardwood floor, that's totally different than on a mat.
Totally different. I once met this old Canadian wrestler named Gino Brito, who was a big name back in the 60s and 70s. And he was telling us a story about this fucking guy he was wrestling one time. He goes, it was a big fucking guy, and he had a loud mouth on him. He goes, so he comes at me, we start the match. He goes, in those days, we didn't script everything. We just kind of went with whatever felt good, and we saw how we could take shit, and we rolled with it, right? He goes, so the first move I go for with this guy is he runs at me, I do a power slam. I catch him. He goes, but I put my arm between the two of us, just to give him a little when we hit the mat so he'll know what fucking time it is. I hook the leg, the ref counts 1. I'm waiting for the kick out. 2, waiting for the kick out. 3, what the fuck? He's dead. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. He goes, every Christmas his widow calls me drunk. You killed my husband. You killed my husband. And I've just been 3 hours on the phone with her talking her down. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, you know, if you hit somebody hard enough in the heart, you could make it
Yeah,
not work.
and that's what he did. He basically he hit the guy hard enough on the sternum with the impact. He stopped the guy's heart.
Hey, Squirrel Hermit, what's up, homie? Yeah, I mean, I ran on a call once, and I've told this story before, but truck tail-ended another car. We ran up to the truck, and the guy in the truck was like, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. You know, I'll be okay. Go check out the other car. And we looked at him, and he looked okay. We went and checked out the other car. No one in the other car was seriously injured. We come back, guy in the truck was dead.
Wow.
Yeah, it turned out he had, when he stopped so quick, his heart and his aorta had dissected.
ooh.
And he didn't even know. Like, he probably felt a little pain in there, but he thought, okay, whatever. So we're talking to this dude. He's basically got 3 minutes of life left in him. Because, I mean, when that aorta is ripped, I mean, it's just blood.
Yeah.
You're just done. And I'll never forget it. He's just an old dude that was in his truck, and he's like, "Nah, I'm fine. Go check out that family." Dude was not that we could have helped him. Even if
of course not. Nothing you
what
could
the
have
hell
done.
was going on. No one in the world could have helped him. You can't reattach a dissected aorta. I mean, it's just you could have had him on the operating room table with 5 doctors around him. He'd still die.
Yeah.
So
All right, gentlemen, I'm gonna go. I got things I got to do. Have a good day.
it's getting near 2 hours. So
Yeah, I'm going to bounce as well, but it was nice seeing you all. Jose, always a pleasure.
yeah, nice to see
It's
you.
a privilege. And it's a privilege to know you all, okay?
Thank you.
Also, Jose,
Yeah.
for medium mechs, look at the Vindicator.
Vindicator, it's a cool one. Yeah, the PPC of the Vindicator.
AC10 PPC.
Yeah,
Can jump.
yeah. That's a good one, yes.
Yeah,
It's
that
a
for a
tough one.
50 tonner, that is a mech that can make you hurt.
Yeah, it can hurt. You can tell in MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries.
There you go. I'll catch you
Okay.
later, brother.
Okay, see ya. Okay.
See ya.